Hi, Miss Deb here. October is Hispanic Heritage Month, so we will celebrate Mexico this time. Mexico is our neighbor whose heritage is Hispanic. Here I have chosen to showcase Dia de los Muertos, or Day of the Dead, which is a very important celebration in Mexico. Dia de los Muertos coincides with Halloween, which is also celebrated in October, but it is not Mexican Halloween. It is a celebration where families welcome back the souls of their deceased relatives for a brief reunion that includes foods, drinks, and celebration. This is a blend of Aztec rituals, European religion, and Spanish culture. It backdates to a long time before the Europeans started to come to this new world. The holiday is celebrated each year from October 31st to November 2nd. The living family members treat the deceased as honored guests in their celebrations, leave their favorite foods and other offerings at grave sites or on ofrendas, which is also known as altars, in their homes. It can be decorated with candles and flowers and lots of different kinds of foods. The most prominent symbols are related to the Day of the Dead are calacas, which means skeleton, and calaveras, which means skulls. In early 19th century, a famous cartoonist reimagined the Aztec goddess of the underworld, who was known as Mitecacihuatl, as a female skeleton known as La Calavera Catrina. Now, that is the most recognizable Day of the Dead icon. Everybody paints their face black and white, which looks like a skull, and then they decorate their hair with paper flowers, and they make their mouth also look like a skull. These days, people commonly paint their face as La Calavera Catrina or wear skull masks. They also eat sugar candy molded into the shape of skulls. During this holiday, Mexicans decorate their homes with banners of papel picado, which means punctured paper. So they decorate with, not only for this celebration, they decorate with other celebrations too. They also make paper flowers to decorate their hair and the ofrendas. Today I'm going to show you how to make those paper flowers and also to paint your face like La Catrina. So first I'm going to show you how to make paper flowers. You need small square pieces of tissue paper. Here we are using tissue paper because they are thin and they are easy to make flowers with. You can also use any other kinds of paper that you have available. If you have just white paper, cut them into square pieces. Do not make them too small, otherwise you'll end up with like a tiny flower. Use like a big squares. You do not need to cut them into square pieces. Round shapes, because if the corners will end up looking like petals. Here I'm using the center of the flower a little different kind of paper color because I want to make them look like stamens. I'm going to cut them into strips, and then I'm going to twist them to make them look like stamens. And you'll see the pink papers are going to turn into petals, and I have not made them rounded shapes, and that is okay. And I have not cut them into petals either. So if you don't have tissue paper, you can use newsprint or any white paper, and you can decorate them yourself, or any kind of colored papers will do. But tissue paper is easier to work with because they are very thin. The other papers are going to be harder to work with. You saw that I made the hole with the pipe cleaner because you need the pipe cleaners for the stems. So I went right through those layers of papers. You need at least 10 layers of papers to make it look more like a good flower. Don't use less than that. And crumple it up so it will look like a flower. I took 4 inches by 4 inches square, but it ended up looking like a very small flower. uh, but I would suggest you start off with the bigger sheets of paper. Here I'm trying to make taking different colors and alternating them, and I have lined them up so that they'll all sides are lined up. One thing I'll tell you is don't do that, because it does not end up looking like a flower. It's easy, it ends up looking like a flower if it's a little bit off, scattered and not lined up nicely. It will end up like a natural flower. So here I was having trouble making a hole with the pipe cleaner. So I just ended up making a hole with the scissors. Then what happened was the scissor made a big huge hole, and then don't try to do that, because then the sheets of paper will slip down. I'm trying to make it look a little bit different by snipping off the edges and making it more like a round paper. And it doesn't have to be perfect, and that is totally fine. I just wanted to show you when you mix up different colored papers how the flower ends up looking. So here you can see the yellow and the orange all at the same time. Experiment with all kinds of different colors. I made the middle part like a circle and scrunched it up so it will look like the center of the flower. And also in Mexico they make these flowers with crepe paper, which is not very easily available here. That's why the tissue paper is the best alternative. So I already made 2. Now I'm going to go on to the third one. And in this case, I'm going to decorate all the different petals with the different colors. I made like a red dot in one of them. I'm going to make lines in other. You can use any pattern you want and go for it. And let's see how it ends up. It will be very interesting. And you can make your own designs on them. So each layer would have a different design. You do not have to keep the papers square like I have done. You can easily make them like pointy petals or a little bit rounded petals, but do the petals after you have assembled the flower together with the pipe cleaner. Otherwise, it will be very difficult for you to put all those cut petals put together in a flower shape. Believe me, I tried, and this way it is better. So here I'm making a swirly pattern, and I'm using different colors. It does not have to be realistic flower colors. It's totally up to you what kind of paper you want to use, what kind of colors you want to use for your patterns. It is totally up to you. So I'm filling up with, and I'm using different patterns for each and every petal, and I'm planning to fill it out all the way through so that no part would be like empty. So now that I'm done with, I have collected enough. Did I tell you I have at least 10 sheets of paper per flower? If you have less, it will not look good. If you have more power to you, but it will be difficult to make a hole through more than 10 sheets of paper, especially if you do not have tissue paper. It is harder to get through all those sheets of paper, and it should be tough. So, and do not try to make a hole with the scissors. Find something pointy that you can make holes with so that you can add the stem. So now that I have all kinds of different colors of paper, I'm going to put them all together. And see, tissue paper, what happened was the color went through to the other side, so you can see the patterns on the other side too. That may not happen on the regular sheets of paper. Because they're thicker, it may not, the pattern may not show. So in the middle, I'm trying to put like 2 pinks. And always try to put the stem from the bottom, whichever is the bottom of your flower, push it through to the middle, because you have to turn it and anchor it. See, now that it's come through the other side, I'm folding it a little bit so that papers will not slip out. So now that I have lots of papers, I'm taking one at a time and scrunching it up. Have you noticed that all the papers are not lined up and they are like staggered? That will make it look more like a flower. This will be an interesting flower because every petal would have like a different pattern. You can also experiment with just coloring the edges and see how it look like and end up looking. So that, I think that will turn fantastic. So make sure you press the bottom so that the papers will not slip down. See how I'm making sure that it's all scrunched up in the middle and it will stay at the end of that stem. Chances are if it's loose, all the petals will slip down, and you don't want that to happen. So there you go, a colorful paper with lots of different patterns. And here is a picture of all the paper with the different colored paper petals. Aren't they pretty? So we are going to use this to decorate our hair after we have painted our faces, like Dia de los Muertos, the skull face. I'm going to paint my own face. First, I'm going to put a headband on my head so the hair will not get into my face. I'm using the Halloween face paints, the cream base, and also the eyeliners and the eye makeup. And these are usually you'll find these kind of paints into the Halloween stores. I'm not using a brush. I'm just using my finger to spread the paint all over my face. So this is my first time painting my own face, and I cannot see very well without my glasses. So that was very, very difficult for me. I had to make sure that what I was doing was right because I could not see without my glasses. I started off with my forehead and I'm making sure that I have enough paint so that it will be a very like a thick layer and my skin will not show through. So if you want to, the ultimate goal is to make your face look like a skull. It's always easier if somebody else does it for you, but why don't you try making it yourself? I think you'll get a lot of satisfaction to do that. See, I have outlined my eyes, but I will make it black, and the top of my nose is all black because that's how skulls look. These are the main things, that your nose has to be black, around your eyes has to be black, and the rest of your face has to be white. After that, whatever decorations you do is totally up to you. You can use other colors then. So now I'm still using my finger, and what I have done is I've still used that Halloween face paint around my eyes. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to have that paint around your eyes, you know what? You can use a black eyeshadow, which may be much safer for your face. See, I am having such a hard time looking at my eyes without my glasses, and because of I have to put the black into all the nooks and crannies around my eyes, and that's a difficult part. And every time I wear my glasses, what happens is it picks up the paint from where it touches my face, so I have to go and retouch everything, which is not a very fun thing to do either. Now, I am putting my paint with my fingers, but when you do the details, if you have a brush handy, you can do very, very fine lines with brushes as well. So I'm touching up all the parts that the color is coming off again and again and again. And it's okay if it smudges a little bit, you can always go back and fix it. I think some of my white and black mixed and turned gray, And then I have a paper towel or a tissue handy. So if you do make a mistake, you can always wipe it off. I did not show it to you over here, but I did have a tissue handy, and anytime I made a mistake, I went and wiped it off. It's very easy. This kind of paint is very easy to wipe off. It's not permanent. It's okay to make mistake. I made a mistake of going with white over the black, and it will be very difficult, easy to fix, not at all difficult. Start off with the top part of your face and slowly work it down. Sometimes some people just paint the face. Other people they paint the neck too to match up with their face. It's totally up to you what you want to do. And I'm not going to paint my neck. I'm just showing you the technique of how to paint your face. I am doing it with my finger, but if you have like a makeup sponge, if you don't want to make your fingers dirty, you can do that. Now I'm checking to see where I have missed, because without my glasses I cannot see. Yeah, I'm almost done with the base coat of white and black. And after I fix my mistakes, here I'm fixing all the white spots with my eye makeup pencil. So this is actually much more thinner and safer for your face than the paint, I think. As you can see, I'm trying to fix all the mistakes that I have made, and I'm smudging more and more white. But ultimately I got rid of all the white spots. Now I'm using a pink color to paint my lips. Usually they use red, but you can use any color you want. You can leave your lips white too. So now after you're done with the whole face white and the black around your eyes and nose, the rest is totally up to you how you want to make it look like. So I'm making my mouth look like the mouth of a skull. And I'm not doing a very good job of it. Maybe you can do better when you take more time, because I'm not taking my time to do a good job. So I'm making the mouth part look like teeth, like so it will look like the skull has teeth. And that is also a very important part of the face painting for Dia de los Muertos. So these are the essential parts. Now if you, instead of a girl, if you want to make it look like a boy, you can add mustaches and you can make other things. I have like a flower thing over here, and I want to make a spider web around the flower. So I'm trying to make the spider web with the black face paint. This face paint takes a long time to dry, so if you touch it, it would still feel wet. So try not to touch when you're making it, because when I'm trying to draw the spider web, I saw that it's picking up the white from underneath, and you can see my skin color through the white, because the white was still wet and it did not do a good job. So when you do it, make sure your white dries up a little bit before you do the details on top. Face painting takes time. I'm making a spider web, and in the middle, hey, how about, I'm going to do a flower, but if you want to do a spider in the middle of your forehead, go ahead. It is totally up to you. And I'm going to use my finger again, because I'm just going to make it look like a petals, and my finger is the perfect size. There you go. I'm done with the flower in the middle of my forehead. Lots of people do a lot more decorations. I'm just going to keep it to the basics. If you have time, sky is the limit. See, every time I wear my glasses, it picks up the paint around my nose. I'm just going to go over it with one more time because the reds are very faint. So this way they'll layer it and it will make it stand out a little bit more. And I am almost done. There you go. All that needs to be done. Oh, I'm going to darken the inside of my lips with a little bit of red, so it will be shaded. Now I'm going to add the flowers to the ones we made earlier. I'm going to make those add my flowers, and I had some crepe big flowers from Mexico, which I'm going to add to my head also. You can pin them up, and whichever way you want, you can make. I just had 3 flowers, but you can make way more flowers. And this flower is from Mexico, that is made out of crepe. See how big those flowers are? And one flower, it just filled out my whole head. So you can, add more flowers and make it look awesome. So this is my finished face painting, and this one is with the flowers. What do you think? Would you like to try it? Give it a try and see where it takes you, and make your own patterns and details inside on your face. I just showed you the basics, and here is a very professionally done face. And here is a man's face. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And there's another one. You can make your eyes really mysterious and lots of flower patterns around the eyes. So happy creating, and celebrate Dia de los Muertos.